Hi and Assalamualaikum. So today we are going to present about animal hormones. I myself will present about introduction of animal hormones, while Amirul Amin will present about major glands of the human endocrine system, and Fatimah Rashid will present about the hormones and target cell concept. And the last one, Muhammad Nazrin will present to you about the action of hormones and its mechanism.
Learning outcomes. Upon completion of this session, you should be able to first distinguish between the mode of action of a neurotransmitter and that of a hormone. Second, identify the major endocrine glands of the human body. And lastly, compare the mechanisms of action of peptide and steroid hormones.
First of all, what is animal hormones? Animal hormones is an organic substance that secreted by the animals that functions in the regulation of physiological activities such as reproduction and growth, and in maintaining homeostasis. And it will be transmitted in the bloodstream after discharge from the glands, called endocrine secretion. Okay. This organic substance is discrete by endocrine system. What is endocrine system? Endocrine system is the collection of glands that produce hormones that regulate metabolism, growth and development, tissue function, sexual function, reproduction, sleep mode and other things. Okay. There is two glands in endocrine system, which is endocrine glands and exocrine glands. What is the difference? So the first one, which is the endocrine glands, it will secrete products directly to the bloodstreams, and next it will deliver throughout the body, while exocrine, it will secrete products through ducts to outside of the body. So that is how a hormone is being secreted from the system. Next, I will pass to Amirul Amin to continue the presentation about major glands in the endocrine system.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today I'm going to talk about the major glands of the human endocrine system, and we go to the first one, that is hypothalamus. Hypothalamus will release and inhibit hormones and also regulate anterior pituitary. So the next one is pituitary gland. Pituitary gland ada yang first ialah ada posterior pituitary, yang second dia adalah anterior pituitary. So posterior pituitary, dekat posterior pituitary does two hormones. The first one is antidiuretic hormone, ADH. Function dia adalah water deabsorption by kidneys. The second one is oxytocin. Function dia adalah untuk stimulate uterine contraction and milk letdown. Ni untuk pengeluaran susu. Lepas tu dekat anterior pituitary kita ada 5 hormon yang dikeluarkan oleh anterior pituitary. The first one is thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH. Function dia adalah untuk stimulate thyroid. And then adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH, dia untuk stimulate adrenal cortex. Adrenal cortex ni dia ada dekat bahagian adrenal gland. And then kita ada gonadotropic hormones, FSH, LH, and dia adalah function dia dalam untuk sex hormone production. Lepas tu kita ada prolactin, PL, untuk milk production, pengeluaran susu, penghasilkan susu. Kemudian kita ada growth hormone. Dia adalah penting untuk bone growth, protein synthesis and cell division. Okay. Lepas tu kita pergi kepada thyroid. Dekat thyroid kita ada dua hormon, iaitu thyroxine T4 and triiodothyronine T3. Function dua hormon ni adalah untuk increase metabolic rate. Lepas tu ada juga hormon calcitonin. Hormon calcitonin function dia adalah untuk lowers the blood calcium level. Okay, lepas tu kita ada adrenal gland. Dekat adrenal gland ni kita ada adrenal cortex dengan adrenal medulla. Adrenal cortex kita ada 3 hormon. The first one is glucocorticoids ataupun kita panggil sebagai cortisol. Dia akan function dia adalah untuk raise blood glucose level. And then kita ada mineralocorticoids, aldosterone, untuk reabsorption sodium and excretion potassium. Lepas tu kita ada sex hormones untuk stimulate reproductive functions. And kita ada, kemudian kita pergi pada adrenal medulla. Dia ada hormon epinephrine and norepinephrine. Function dia adalah untuk dah ketika emergency situation, time tu dia akan aktif. Contohnya dia akan tingkatkan glucose level dalam tubuh blood. And kalau kita tengok balik, hormon yang dikeluarkan oleh adrenal cortex iaitu glucocorticoids dengan mineralocorticoids ni adalah sangat penting, especially bila kita dalam keadaan stres. Bila kita dalam keadaan stres, kita gunakan a lot of energy, and then bila kita guna a lot of energy, kita punya glucose level akan rendah. Bila rendah, sebab itulah glucocorticoids akan dikeluarkan oleh adrenal cortex untuk meningkatkan balik glucose punya level dalam kita punya blood. And mineralocorticoids ni akan mengeluarkan mineralocorticoids ni akan dikeluarkan juga untuk supaya serap balik, supaya sodium tu diserap semula. And then bila diserap semula sodium tu, kita punya blood pressure kita akan kembali jadi normal lah. Okay. Kemudian kita pergi kepada gonads. Dekat gonads ni ada dua. The first one is testis, iaitu kita ada hormon yang dikeluarkan adalah androgens or testosterone. Ia adalah untuk male sex characteristics. And the second one is ovaries, dikeluarkan hormon estrogens and progesterone. Adalah function dia untuk female sex characteristics. And I think that's all from me. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.
Okay, next I will be continue for the 4 others major gland, which are pineal gland, parathyroid gland, thymus, and also pancreas. Okay, for the pineal gland is releasing hormone known as melatonin hormone. Melatonin hormones are released to control our circadian and circannual rhythm. The circadian rhythm is the internal process that regulates our sleep-wake cycle. Next, for the parathyroid gland. Parathyroid gland is located in the posterior surface of thyroid. So, parathyroid glands are releasing hormone known as parathyroid hormones or PTH. The PTH is released to raise the blood calcium level. Next, for the thymus. Thymus is releasing hormone known as thymosin. Thymosin is releasing for the production and also maturation of the T lymphocytes. Lastly, for the pancreas. Pancreas is releasing 2 different hormones, which are insulin and also glucagon. So for the insulin and glucagon, they are not released at the same time, but there are a few conditions that cause them to release. For insulin will be released when our blood glucose level are too high. So the pancreas will release insulin to lower our blood glucose level and promotes glycogen. While for the glucagon is released when our blood glucose level are too low. So the function of glucagon is to raise our blood glucose level and break down the glycogen. Next, for the hormone as chemical signals, I will be emphasized in the two parts, which are target cell concept and also pheromones. For the target cell concepts, there are a few things that we need to know, which is the target cell only respond for the specific hormone. Second one is the target cell for a particular hormone carries a receptors only for that hormones. So, for example, the mechanism that's usually used by the target cell concept is key fits and locks, which means the hormone will be bind to the receptor protein at the target cell, and the target cell will show the response. So, for example, for the androgen insensitivity, the androgen insensitivity is the individual that has X and Y hormones or chromosomally male without receptor in the body cell for testosterone, and the individuals appears to be normal females. Maksud dia kat sini, seorang individual yang mempunyai X and Y chromosome usually should be a male, but since dia punya body tak ada receptor untuk produce testosterone, so the persons appear to be a normal female. So next one is for the pheromones. Pheromones are a chemical signal that can influence behavior of other individuals. Contohnya, lelaki boleh tertarik kepada seorang perempuan dan juga lelaki mampu menenangkan seorang perempuan. These two example dia disebabkan oleh kehadiran of pheromones itself. Next, for the pheromones are also used in the industry as they are used in the production of perfumes. That's why bila orang yang pakai perfume lalu depan kita macam wanginya. Okay, that's one is also disebabkan oleh pheromones. In the simple way, pheromones ni kita kenali dia sebagai hormon penari. In this video, I will be provide the video for the target cell concept to you guys to more understand about it. Thank you.
Hormones are specific. They will only affect certain cells of the body called target cells, which have receptors for that hormone. So for example, here, a green hormone will only affect cells which have green receptors which match that green hormone. So a green hormone is incapable of affecting this red cell with its red receptors. In the same way, a red hormone will only affect cells with red receptors which are specific to that. Once hormones are in the blood, they will affect target cells. So notice that the cell with the green receptors changes after the green hormone binds it. The cell with the red receptors changes when the red hormone binds it. But hormones are specific. They will only affect target cells which have receptors for that hormone.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And very good morning to our beloved teacher Semio. So today, my name is Muhammad Nazmi Samuri, AS104711, and I will continue this presentation to explain you about the action of peptide and steroid hormones. Let us begin. we have two action of hormones, which is first we have peptide hormones and second steroid hormones. So I will go one by one to explain more detail about it. First, I will explain about the action of peptide hormones. Most endocrine glands secretes peptide hormones. So this is our endocrine glands. These hormones refer to peptides, proteins, glycoprotein, and modified amino protein. Second, in muscle cell, the reception of epinephrine leads to the breakdown the glycogen to glucose. So this process provide energy for ATP production. So kat sini dekat proses to break down glycogen to glucose, this process provide energy for ATP reduction. Okay, third, most hormone bind to receptor on the plasma membrane. So this is our plasma membrane. And most hormone refer to peptide hormones, and this hormone always bind to the receptor on the plasma membrane, receptor protein. Okay, next I will explain about the action of peptide hormones. So in this action, we have two messengers, which is first messenger and second messenger. First messenger is epinephrine and second messenger is CAMP. So what is first messenger and what is second messenger? First messenger is hormone that never enters the cell, while second messenger sets the metabolic machinery in motion. Okay, first I will explain about this action. Okay, first, epinephrine binds to a receptor in the plasma membrane. So this is epinephrine, or we can call that a peptide hormone. And this is a receptor protein. So the epinephrine will bind to the receptor protein in the plasma membrane. As I mentioned before, epinephrine is a first messenger. So this hormone never enter the cell. Second, binding leads to activation of an enzyme that change ATP to CAMP. The changes ATP to CAMP is the immediate result for epinephrine binding at the plasma membrane. Okay, third, CAMP contain one phosphate group attached to adenosine at two locations. Therefore, the molecule is cyclic. The molecule is referred to CAMP. So this is a cyclic CAMP. Okay, fourth, CAMP activates an enzyme cascade. And lastly, many molecules of glycogen are broken down to glucose, which enters the bloodstream. So glycogen will broken down to glucose and enters the bloodstream. So for the next, we will move on to the second action of hormone, which is the action of steroid hormones. So first, steroid hormones all derived from cholesterol, a lipid. Second, they enter the cell by moving through the plasma membrane rather than binding to receptor proteins because they are lipid. Third, in this process, the hormone receptor complex bind with DNA and activate genes. And lastly, only the adrenal cortex, the ovaries and testes produce steroid hormones. Okay, the action of steroid hormones. Okay, the action of steroid hormones, we have 4 steps. Okay, first, hormones diffuses through plasma membrane because it is lipid soluble. Okay, steroid hormone is a lipid soluble and plasma membrane is a lipid soluble too. Jadi steroid hormone ni dia tak perlu protein membrane, dia tak perlu receptor protein untuk masuk ke dalam plasma membrane. Dia hanya perlu diffuse through plasma membrane sebab kedua-duanya lipid soluble. Okay, second, once inside, a steroid hormone binds to an internal receptor in the nucleus and form hormone receptor complex. So hormone dia akan masuk nukleus dan dia akan jumpa dengan receptor protein. So steroid hormone dia akan bind dengan receptor protein and form hormone receptor complex. So this is a hormone receptor complex. So third, inside the nucleus, the hormone receptor complex activates gene and synthesis of a specific mRNA molecule. So lepas dah form hormone receptor complex, dia akan bind dengan DNA and activate genes. After that, its synthesis of a specific mRNA molecule. Okay, last, messenger RNA move to ribosome in the cytoplasm and protein synthesis occurs. Okay. Steroids act more slowly than peptides, but action lasts longer. Why? Because it takes more time to synthesize new proteins than to activate enzymes already present in cell. So for the last, this is a comparison for peptide hormone and steroid hormone. So first type of hormone, we have two, which is first peptide and second steroid. So peptide is made from amino acid, while steroid is made from cholesterol. The location of receptor for peptide is cell surface, or we can call that a membrane plasma. And steroid, the location of steroid receptor is within the cytoplasm. So the mechanism of action for peptide is second messenger, while steroid is bind DNA. Speed of effects for peptide is rapid, while steroid is slow. So this is example of peptides is peptides, proteins, and epinephrine. While for steroid we have testosterone and estrogen. I think that's all from us. I hope you will understand this video. Thank you.